Hey everybody, have you considered starting a podcast? We here at Screwball highly recommend Podbean for getting your podcast out to a larger audience. Podbean has given us the ability to easily bring you Screwball each and every week on all of your favorite podcast services. Use the link podbean.com/screwball to sign up and save up to 35% annually. You can also use the link podbean.com/pro/screwball to sign up for a business subscription. Happy podcasting. Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host Mike Lepre here with my co-host Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This is our first week returning back to our normal episode structure. We finally have the season here. Last few weeks we were doing our predictions episode, and now we can finally see some baseball going on, some proper baseball. Opening day was not too long ago, and we are kind of in full swing now with the first series out of the way, and got some people getting playing time, and we're seeing what first starts for pitchers, and it's exciting time for baseball, and we're finally back on our regular, like I said, our regular episode format. So if to anyone that is new to the podcast, typically when we run through the season and we do our normal episodes, we run through news, we run through hot and cold teams, we run through hot and cold players, and then we finish up with injuries and our typical trivia question. So that's the basic structure. To anyone that has been listening, you should be already familiar with this. It's not really going to change much. So I'm just going to kick it over to Frank for our first kind of big piece of news here and kind of some opinions on what baseball's looking like so far.
Pretty much start off with the most important thing. It was opening day on Thursday. We've seen everybody play but two teams. But opening day was here. I think it was, like I said earlier, it's the most anticipated opening day. I believe a lot of the teams actually had their most viewed games or most viewed opening days this year. Mm-hmm. I know the Yankees were one of them, so that's exciting. Fans are back, so that's great. For the most, some of these stadiums look relatively full. Especially Colorado looked pretty full. We know the Rangers are going to be full, so a lot of these stadiums looked pretty good, which is good. The noise is there, you can hear it. It's real. Some normalcy is back, and then is there a dead ball? Have they actually changed the ball and done, deadened it a little bit? I think they have. The home runs seem to be a little bit down. There's a couple balls I've seen hit that look like they were going to be home runs, and they kind of die out the one track. Or, I know the one game Ryan Mountcastle hit a ball. Fenway, I thought was going to go over the monster, ended up hitting the wall. Mm-hmm. So is there a little bit of a little bit change of a ball? Not much difference, but, a couple feet. I think there could be. I mean, it's just a little bit of a slower start. I feel like some of these home runs, you don't see some. Usually you see some guys, jump right out and have 5 home runs in the first weekend. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. This year you got if you got 1 or 2, you're leading the league.
Yeah.
So it could just be coincidence, or it could be the fact that they did say they were going to try messing with the ball a little bit. Yeah. So that's a few of my opening notes for week 1.
Yeah, I noticed kind of too. Especially with watching the Yankees' first few games, and only Gary Sanchez really has the home runs, and it's like you hope Stanton has one at some point, or hell, even Urshela could get a hold of one or something. So yeah, I did notice a little bit of the dead ball stuff, and we know that they talked about how they quote unquote juiced the ball, and we know that they were doing something with it. So from there, I'll get into the first kind of weekly, relevant pieces of news here. Number 1, the Washington Nationals opener was put on hold. The first weekend of baseball for the Nationals and subsequently the Mets was put on hold due to a small outbreak among the team. 4 players reportedly had tested positive, while another 7 were placed under quarantine for the first weekend. This has kept the Mets from playing until tonight, as of recording this, Monday, April 5th, and the Nationals have their date as well for their first game tomorrow, Tuesday, April 6th. The Mets play the Phillies for their first series, and the Nationals play against the Braves.
Of course, the Mets.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is really, technically 2 years in a row, the Nationals had COVID right at the beginning of the year. I believe Soto had it last year in the shortened season. Yeah. And someone else, I think, also had it right at the beginning of the year. Yeah. But, of course, the Mets.
Yeah, I know. And especially a year that there's probably even more excitement around this Mets team than there has been maybe since their World Series run in 2015, and that time where they had the supposed ridiculous next best thing pitching rotation. I mean, their pitching rotation's good this year too, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of hype around those years. So yeah, I mean, it sucks for the Mets because they just got caught. It's just the Mets. It's just always their luck. They got caught. They didn't do nothing.
It's not a good start for the Mets.
Yeah. And the Nationals even got some stuff to be excited about, so it sucked for them. I mean, I'm sure fans are excited to see what they got too. So that sucked. It's kind of New Year, same COVID, but it's not going to be. I don't see this happening at the rate or the outbreak level that it was happening last year. So if stuff like this happens, could even be the only time it happens this year. You don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully everyone's okay and we get on with baseball. They play and we're all good. So that was kind of the first piece of news I thought worth mentioning, because obviously it kept two teams from playing opening weekend. We saw everyone but them.
Yeah.
From there, another big piece of news: Nick Castellanos has been issued a suspension. On Saturday, April 3rd, Nick Castellanos of the Reds got into a heated exchange with Cardinals pitcher Jake Woodford, leading to both benches clearing. Castellanos was hit in the ribs by a pitch that was seen by some as retaliation for pimping a home run the game prior. After sliding in at home, Castellanos yelled and flexed in Woodward's face, which led to the exchange. Castellanos has been given a 2-game suspension, and he will appeal. That all coming from MLB.com. I think this is much ado about nothing. I think Castellanos was pretty honest and straightforward at his press conference. I thought what he said made sense. I thought
Especially that quote.
Yeah, where he said he would sign the jersey if he punched him in the face.
Well,
or what was
you
it?
punch him in the face, he'd still be his biggest fan. Or
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
said
yeah.
He didn't care. Which,
Yeah. So I think this is much ado about nothing. I don't think. Does he deserve to be suspended? I don't think so, but I guess I could see it because there was a brawl exchange. So I get it, but I don't. I think that you just their whole thing is let the kids play, and then this is contrary to that.
Yeah.
And before you go, I don't know if you're even preparing to say this. He has now been suspended longer than any Astro.
Oh,
so
well, of course.
So I mean, let's just throw that out there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't like what he did. Flexing the guy's face after a collision at the plate, but to suspend him just seemed.
It just seemed unnecessary.
Didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Just didn't seem like it needed to be done. But, yeah, I mean, being opening weekend with those two teams, things are going to happen. But I didn't like the, agree with the flex in the guy's face. But, that's definitely not the worst thing that goes on in baseball. But the suspension I thought was just really, rather stupid. Even if it was like a 1 game, it's like, okay, just give him technically you suspended him, but it's just like an off day. Like a 1 game suspension, like an off day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're gonna be like, "Oh, we suspended him a game," but really, it's just
it's just
2 games is like you're showing like, "Hey, we suspended you."
Yeah, it's a little more than a slap on the wrist, even though it kind of 162 game season is still kind of like a slap on the wrist. But I know what you mean.
Especially when you guys betting 545.
Yeah, I mean,
you kind of want to be out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just you gotta love seeing a couple bench clearing skirmish.
Yeah.
So. But a couple other pieces of news to kind of go along with that. The Braves lose the All-Star game over the Georgia voting laws they passed. Yeah, I'm not going to go into those. But I thought that was rather stupid for the MLB because, one, you had it locked in, you had a logo, new stadium. But you penalized the Atlanta Braves, who had nothing to do with it. And funny you mentioned the suspension because you penalized the Braves more than you penalized the Astros. For something the Astros did to hurt the game, the Braves did nothing to do anything with any of this.
Yeah.
As this is an off-field political thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you penalized the franchise. That really made no sense. And with the offseason that Hank Aaron passed away, it was perfect that the Braves had the All-Star game.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
It made no sense why you would penalize the Braves for what you did. So I think their big plan with that was, hey, let's just penalize them for this and give that All-Star game back to the Dodgers, who didn't have it last year.
Yeah, because then it's at least like, okay, I see what you're thinking.
I think that's really why they did that. It's like, hey, let's make a point, but let's also give the All-Star game back to LA because they lost it last year. That's what they're going to do. If they were smart, they would probably bring to the Rangers because the Rangers have full capacity so you can make your money back.
Yeah.
If they're smart. And it's brand new stadium.
It's a good point. Yeah.
But Manfred doesn't know that he's even the commissioner. I think he's thinking we're playing football.
Yeah.
So, didn't like that, but that's just how it is. Braves kind of showed their displeasure, especially with they covered the patch up, and they did a couple things that the MLB didn't want, but they did it. So, good for them. The other part here, I got Angel Hernandez. He loses his lawsuit. He's terrible. I don't know. He probably couldn't find where he had to sign his name or something on that because he's blind as can be. But But he loses his lawsuit about discrimination and why he didn't get picked for games. The fact that he blew 92% of his calls. That's not the reason, I guess. But yeah, he's terrible. So he loses his lawsuit, so that's one good thing. A couple of small things. I think defense is down, as it always is. Every, first week or two of the season, cold weather and change of weather and playing every day and playing at night more. It's just, defense is always a little bit down. To go with that, you can see Luis Robert pulling his Canseco and getting bonked on the head on a fly ball and throwing the ball at the mound, and it's just craziness.
I know.
Even last night's game, the White Sox scored 2 runs on the wild strikeout pitch, and the ball's thrown around, and people are going to slide. It was a mess.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, it looks rough.
Yeah. So his defense is down a little bit, but that always is never. That's not nothing new. We've seen snow in Detroit, snow opening day.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see that a bunch. That was fantastic. Miguel Lepre had the first home run, slid in the second, and then I believe the second or third home run of the year wasn't a home run because Justin Turner ran back towards first and Bellinger passed him, so it wasn't a home run.
Yeah.
So our first 2 home runs were awfully confusing. Then we had an inside the park home run.
Yeah.
So a lot of home runs that we are getting hit are just mess.
Yeah, for real.
Sanchez had a home run, 2 of them. Things are crazy right now.
I know.
And then the extra inning rule, which I don't think anyone really likes.
It's terrible.
At least not right in the first inning in extra innings.
Mm-hmm.
I like maybe after the first 2 innings, extra innings in a regular season game, maybe then put something in. Okay.
Yeah, speed it up a little bit. Yeah.
Well, first inning, put him at first, and then the second inning, put him at second, and after that, or something. But, not great. But the fact that we've seen like 4 or 5 opening day extra inning games or opening weekend extra inning games, you can see how much of an impact this is going to have on the season. And that, it's just not the rule they should have kept. They could have kept DH. They could have kept a bit of an expanded playoffs. No, let's kept the extra inning rule, the one that no one really, really wanted to keep.
Yeah.
So that's just, my little bit of news, going into the week 1 and after week 1, or, half of the week, because we started on Thursday, but, felt like a whole week.
Yeah, you can't really rely on the MLB to make good decisions anymore with Manfred at the helm. Just to run through what you talked about, Angel Hernandez sucks. That just is what it is. I'm glad he lost his lawsuit because it didn't make any sense. He's a terrible umpire, and he doesn't seem like a very nice guy at all. He doesn't seem like
He's a superhero.
Yeah, I'm not a big...
Everyone comes to watch Angel Hernandez and his stupid wrist guard he's got on.
Yeah, I'm not a big... I don't think there's many people that are like, yeah, I like Angel Hernandez. Like, okay. No. So, yeah, I just don't like him. I'm glad he lost his lawsuit because, like I said, that didn't make any sense. And then with the whole thing with the Braves... It's a whole political thing. I'm not going to get into the politics of it because that's muddy, and this is a baseball show. I'm not going to talk about the politics, but I thought the MLB's decision to do that was weird. I think they were trying to score maybe brownie points with politics. Maybe they're trying to score brownie points with maybe people view them in a different light. Maybe people start watching MLB because they think they align politically. It's stupid. I think they shouldn't have done that. It's strange. Like you said, if they bring it back to the Dodgers, there's at least some sense there, but I didn't really like it. It didn't make much sense. And yeah, with the defense, things are just going nuts around baseball with the lack of home runs and the defense. So everyone's clearly rusty, but it makes it kind of fun with the beginning of the season because once you're in the dog days of summer and everyone's kind of in their groove, it's just different baseball. So with that said, I'm just glad that we got a 162 game season and we got the little rust and weird stuff and we still have 6 months of baseball. So
yeah, snow baseball. We didn't really see that last year because we started in June.
Yeah,
July,
so that would have been impressive.
Yeah, super impressive.
But moving on from there, just a quick note about Shohei Ohtani. He had a pretty historic night last night, which was Sunday, April 4th. So there was a few records that he maybe partly broken, and he's putting his name in exclusive clubs. So, like I said, on Sunday, he batted second for the Angels, but he also pitched against the White Sox. He was not only throwing 100 miles an hour, but he was also hitting 100 mile an hour plus home runs. He's one of the few Angels ever in their history to record multiple 100 mile an hour fastballs in the same game, and he's one of the only players ever did a home run at over 100 miles per hour and throw a pitch at 100 miles per hour. I believe Syndergaard and someone else is also in that club. And a cool little stat, he's the first pitcher to hit a home run against an AL team since the DH was implemented. So the last time that happened was the day before they implemented the DH in 1972 or something like that.
AL pitcher to hit an AL ballpark against an AL team.
Yeah, since the DH was implemented.
Yeah.
So just like some cool little quirks there. Shohei Ohtani's an exciting player. It's good to see that he's pitching. There was an injury shortened start for him.
Well,
I believe
they said
he is.
it wasn't the injury that took him out. They said he's fine, but I mean, obviously it was. Probably should have took him out before that. I was watching the game, but at least he's all right because Jose Abreu's a big boy to come charging.
I know,
and run into you and knock you down.
Yeah, so he is. I believe he is fine. I don't think he's gonna miss, if any, playing
he might
time.
miss a day in the lineup or two because he's playing every day, doing double the work.
Yeah, so yeah, he might get extra days off and stuff, and they may just keep him out of the lineup to keep him safe. But it's cool to see that he's hitting good. It's cool to see he's pitching good, and he's just a unique player in baseball. And I thought it was just worth noting, kind of just some unique stuff that we don't see from. I mean, you get guys like Madison Bumgarner and Syndergaard that hit well, but you never see stuff like this.
But to go with that too, I think is something to watch is when they do that, how they handle the execution of it. Because let's say Ohtani comes out there and gets beat up in the first inning, you're pulling him and putting a relief pitcher in. Now you're two hole hitters, a relief pitcher.
Yeah.
Are you going to double switch and leave Ohtani in the game, have him play a position that he's never played a position? So you're going to stay at first, take your first baseman out, he's going to go to right field and take your right fielder out. Or you're just going to put the pitcher in, let the pitcher hit once or twice, a relief pitcher who doesn't ever hit.
Yeah.
Or you're going to pinch hit the whole game. Or you're going to double switch. So there's going to be a lot of strategy when they do this. If he goes 5-6 innings, I mean, obviously you're not really worried about it. But if he goes 1, 2, 3, even 3 innings, you're like, okay, we got to figure this out. So that's something to take a look to.
Yeah.
And everyone just calm down because he's not Babe Ruth. People keep saying this is our Babe Ruth. This is not our Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no our Babe Ruth. There's just Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
So just stop that.
And if there is our Babe Ruth, it's Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
There's no Babe. There's no. Oh, he pitches and hits. I don't know. He doesn't just pitch and hit. Right? The other guy had the best ERA in any World Series in history, and then had a million home runs. So there's a difference. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
so
for
this
real.
isn't our Babe Ruth. It's the idea, okay, is similar, but this isn't our. He's not. No.
Yeah, I know.
Like he's our Barry Bonds.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, no one's hitting 73 home runs. It's like no.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Oh, this is our Cy Young. Like no, that's no.
Yeah,
Look,
he's good, but
yeah, you can't compare him to that guy. So just stop that.
Yeah, just got to go top shelf with comparisons.
Yeah.
Can't just be like, oh, this is our, I don't know,
Yeah.
this is our Oral Hershiser.
Like
some random guy.
No, this is our Babe Ruth. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But like I said, it's cool to see.
Oh yeah, it's very exciting. Just I don't like I hate
the
when anyone
comparisons.
compares it to Babe Ruth. 'Cause it's like that's not right.
Yeah.
Or comparing things to any athlete. When they're just like oh that's Wayne Gretzky. Oh sure.
Yeah, I'm sure he's the great one. Yeah.
Yeah. Or anybody, Wilt Chamberlain or something. It's like that's not right.
Yeah, I know.
Compare him to someone else. Like no.
Yeah, or you just
compare
can't.
him to the best.
I know. Yeah, there you go, top shelf, of course.
So.
But yeah, no, like I said, it's exciting to see a player like that, in the league, and it seems like he can excel at both. So that's cool. And then next on the news here, a little bit of a team kind of update here. The Astros make a strong opening statement. The Houston Astros came out of the gates hot against the A's. They swept them in a 4-game series in Oakland, which is very impressive. The Astros won 8-1, 9-5, 9-1, and 9-2. They are currently the only team at 4-0, and they're only the 4th team in history to score at least 8 runs in each game in their first 4 games. That all coming from ESPN. So, there are some teams that obviously came out of the gates hot, but I felt worth noting that they are not only the first and only 4-0 team. They did it against Oakland, who Oakland kind of punked them last season and really, kind of took them down. And Astros came out in Oakland, which to me is the most impressive part, and, took it to them. So that's, not to say that that's just going to be the season, but it makes a statement for the Astros, even though I'm not a big fan of them, but it does make a statement,
Yeah.
So that's, I just wanted to include that.
Yeah, and to go with that, I got a couple teams here I just wanted to list that started the season off, the right way. And these teams include, the Orioles, the Royals, Astros. Royals came out, by the way, and just were hitting the ball all over the place. That Rangers-Royals game opening day was like 8 hours long because it was like, 9 runs an inning? It was crazy.
I know.
So Orioles, Royals, Astros, like you mentioned, the Phillies, Reds, and Angels. I thought these teams really came out, played well, scored runs, and won a bunch of their first games. Or, in the Phillies' case, they won all of their first games. In the Astros' case. And then to go with that, also you have some cold teams, especially some of the the real good teams. Some slow starts from really some big teams and big names we're gonna get into, but some slow starts include the Braves, the A's, White Sox, Red Sox, and Yankees. All these teams started off very slow. Red Sox swept at home, first time since like 1940.
Yeah.
So that's very slow. White Sox 1-3 and got beat in their bullpen, which is a strength for them. A's swept at home 4 games in Oakland, which is impossible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Braves swept by the Phillies. That happens, but shouldn't have really. The Yankees lost 2 or 3 to the Blue Jays, which that's not really that surprising, but they didn't score any runs.
Yeah, they haven't hit.
They just didn't really look that good offensively.
Yeah.
Which is more surprising. So those are some hot and cold teams just to throw out there. You're going to be it's going to be hard pressed to see that the Orioles be on that hot list a lot more times the rest of this year. And if they are, good for them.
Yeah.
But
because
if you see them 2, 3 more times on there, I'd be like, okay. You see them 5, 6, 8 more times on there, I'll be very impressed.
Yeah, because they're, at the end of the day, after a 162-game season's all said and done, they're a 4th, 5th place team, especially in that division. Not for nothing. So, but just to piggyback off of that, you already mentioned some of this, but like I said, the Astros have the best record. They're 4-0. They've played more games than a lot of the other teams, and they won all 4 of them. So they hold the best record. Phillies and the Orioles are behind them. They're 3-0. Those are the only 3 teams undefeated, not counting the Nationals and Mets because they haven't played.
Got a chance at 162.
Yeah, listen.
That's all you can ask for.
And then just to go along with that, no surprise here, the Astros have the best run differential. They're at plus 26. A's have the worst at minus 26. There's nothing really to write home about there. It's just the first series. So I really don't expect the A's to have the worst run differential, and I really don't expect the Astros to have the best run differential. So that's just product of first series and maybe even first week if it carries over.
It's just Dusty Baker, the fellas.
That's true. He makes a difference. So from there, we'll move on to our segment of who's hot and who's not of players. So there's, I think for the most part from what I've seen, there was a lot of cold starts for people. I would say from what I saw, I'd say there were more notable guys that were cold coming out of the gates. But there were still some guys that hit the cover off the ball coming in this first weekend here. So the first one I have listed here, there's no real particular order. I just, whoever caught my eye first. Or whoever, when I was looking through the list, whoever I saw first. So number 1, I have Ketel Marte, batted .563, had a .611 on base and 1674 OPS. Absolutely tore it up. He was like 8 for 14, or I don't even know.
Mike stole him from me in fantasy.
Yeah,
and then I come in week 1 and play Mike, who has Ketel Marte in fantasy.
And he's the only one hitting for me.
So that's fantastic.
Then right behind him, as I'm sure a lot of baseball fans are familiar with his name now, Yermin Mercedes. I believe that's how you say his name properly. He batted .643 with a 1,000 slugging and a 1643 OPS. He was like 8 for his first 8 or 9 for his first 9.
8 for his first 8,
yeah.
And that broke the record. He was the most consecutive at-bats to start a season without getting out.
Yeah.
He was 8 for his first 8. I think it was the first time since 1900, or he was, broke the record, or first player since 1900. They didn't really go back farther than that, I believe.
Yeah.
But, that's very impressive.
Yeah, impressive for him. And
not just base hits. He had 420-something foot home run, doubles. He was, smoking the ball. It wasn't just, not just, it's really much different. Hit a base hit 8 times in a row up the middle. It's a base hit, but he was hitting the ball in the gap and home runs. He was kind of doing it all there.
Yeah, he looked impressive, and I'm sure the White Sox and White Sox fans were pleasantly surprised. And
yeah, you lose a guy like Eloy Jimenez from pretty much all year, and a guy comes in and goes 8 for 8 to start that year. You go, all right.
Yeah, all right. I guess we'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
So then moving on from him, I have Luis Arias, who I personally I think he's fantastic. I think he's maybe even underrated as a hitter. But he batted .538, had a 647 on base and a 1262 OPS. Like I said, I think he's a hitter. He's one of there's kind of like a similar
base hit guy. He's just gonna put the ball on ball in play. Not gonna strike out.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to put his slugging up here because it wasn't much higher than his average. So.
Yeah, he's just going to get base hits and he's just going to be fine. And that's just fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you need, especially with a lineup like the Twins who are going to hit home runs. So
David Fletcher guys of the world that we love.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with that, number 4, I have Donovan Solano, who batted .500 with a 643 slugging and a 1143 OPS. Another guy that just doesn't seem to stop hitting.
And a guy who I do have in my fantasy team, who I drafted right at the end of the draft. I don't know how, but I got him.
I knew that was a great pick. Once I see it, I was like, well, he'll hit 500, 600 because it's Donovan Solano. But and then a little bit of a surprising one here. Number 5, Cedric Mullins for the Orioles.
Broke a record yesterday.
He had a 692 average, a 714 on base percentage, and a 1637 OPS over the first weekend. Just that 5-for-5 game helped him a lot, obviously, with that.
He was 5-for-5, six plate appearances. He got walked the other time, 3 doubles. I mean, he was all over the place.
Yeah. So
and his
maybe
defense is fantastic to begin with.
Yeah. So maybe the Orioles got what they. Maybe, I mean, he's not going to keep up that pace, but, maybe the Orioles got something here that they were kind of expecting out of this guy.
Type hitter, 270 hitter or so with the great defense and the great speed, and you're awesome. You're set the table with, other guys coming up.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely a different start to the season than he's had. So, so good for him. These other guys, like, you kind of expect that from Ketel Marte. Donovan Solano, at this point, you might expect a pretty hot hitting start. Luis Arias. Yerman Mercedes is obviously a very nice surprise, but Cedric Mullins has been a guy that's kind of been meddling with the Orioles, and they've been hoping to get a little more out of him, so it's good for him. But that's the 5 I got for my hot hitters. I know you usually have pitchers that you want to go into.
Yeah, I mean, another hitter you could just throw out there, Eric Hosmer, was doing great too.
Yeah, he just missed the list, but yeah.
So I just want to throw his name out there because, for the most part, me and you got the same list here. But some pitchers who really started the year great, Jose Barrios. Jose Barrios had a no-hitter through 6 innings and like 12 strikeouts. They pulled him with 84 pitches. Not a bad idea. I think you could have went one more inning. He would have got to about 100. But at that point, definitely pull him beginning of the year. That's definitely not a bad idea. Sandy Alcantara had a great start. John Means was fantastic.
Yeah.
1 hit the first batter and then picked him off, and he was fantastic against the Red Sox in Boston.
Yeah.
Zach Wheeler, 7 innings, 1 hit. He started a year great. And then Julian Merriweather out of the bullpen for Toronto. We've seen, personally as the Yankees, he came in and pitched 2 great innings for the Blue Jays.
His stuff looked good.
Yeah, and the Yankees weren't even swinging the bat. Yeah. So, that's great for him and great for the Blue Jays to find something like that when, they had a tough break with Kirby Yates going down before the season even started.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some good pitchers there. John Means, guy that we kind of always liked and thought had
got beat up a little bit last year.
Yeah. We thought he had good potential with the Orioles, so that's good out of that. Jose Barrios has that kind of stuff, and then he'll come out next week and give up 6 runs somehow. Like he's that kind of guy, but he'll still pitch that 6 innings. He's an innings eater.
Oh yeah.
So but he's got that good stuff. He could really be. He is that ace, I'd say, for that team, but sometimes he's just inconsistent.
Yeah,
but
I
do like him.
Alcantara was great because he was young last year, pitched great, and this year he's really one of the heads that are of the rotation, and it's on my fantasy team, so I gotta love it. And I had Glass now, who pitched just as good.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean, expect that out of him.
Yeah, so I liked it personally. It was like, let him keep going. Come for the complete game shutout. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But so those few pitchers there really caught your eye to start the year.
Yeah. So then from there we got to switch it up and go to the other side of it where we have the not players, the cold players. And number 1 here, I had to put him number 1 because he hasn't done anything, but Ozzy Albies. I believe he's 0 for 13 with strikeout and no walks, nothing. I believe it's 0 for 13. It could be 0 for 14, but so he hasn't done anything. Maybe defensively he's fielded a ground ball, but that's your value out of him so far, especially if you're a fantasy owner. You're not happy. So he's definitely top of the list. Number 2, there is Elvis Andrus, first year with the A's. Maybe a big reason that the A's, the runs were down for their first few games. He batted .071 with a .143 slugging and a .214 OPS. So all around, if your OPS is a bad batting average, then not great. Then number 3, Xander Bogaerts had a .083 average, a .083 slugging, and a .167 OPS. Again, he's probably 1 for 14 or 1 for 12, or I forget how that average carries out, but it looks like he just has 1 hit. Same here with number 4, Aaron Hicks, .083 average, .083 slugging, but a .298 OPS. So Aaron Hicks, as we know, he does walk, so at least that. I think he has the best OPS out of the bunch here, which isn't saying much, but And number 5, a guy we like, Marcell Ozuna, had a .091 average, a .091 slugging, and a .258 OPS. Again, just not great.
Don't worry about him now.
No, I don't think there's really much to worry about. Even any of these guys.
Especially him now.
Yeah. No.
He'll be fine.
No, he should have been an MVP candidate last year, but I don't know why they just don't like him. So that's the cold players. Not looking great so far, but there are some big names here, and I'm sure, especially Ozzy Albies, it's not like he's just going to go 0 for 600 or whatever. You know what I mean? So he'll be fine. So Yeah, we'll see what happens with those guys, but I don't expect them to be on the cold list much.
Yeah, and a few other names that I have here, hitters wise. Stanton, Giancarlo Stanton, started off very slow, especially because he's an opening day kind of guy. He always usually plays pretty good opening day. Alex Verdugo for the Red Sox after having a great year, he was off to a very slow start. And then Matt Chapman, I think he's only got one hit in his first few at bats out there. Another reason why the A's probably started off pretty slow. So there's a few names there. But the guy I should have threw about with the hot players, Matt Olson came out. He was batting about 400 with no home runs, but batting 400. So that's good to see because he had a average-wise real low last year.
Yeah.
So I meant to say that earlier, but I just want to throw that out there after seeing a couple of these A's guys like Matt Chapman and Andrews on the cold list. Mm-hmm. They'll be fine though. They'll be fine. They'll get it together and they'll just scrap their way along to about 90 wins.
yeah, absolutely.
So a couple of cold pitchers though to throw in there. Luis Castillo for the Reds got obliterated by the Cardinals early. 3 innings. I think he had like 8 runs.
Yeah.
Mad Bum got off to a relatively was pretty good. Not too bad. Then he got hit a double and all right, and then he gave a bunch of runs there to the Padres at one time. Kershaw off to pretty slow start. Facing the Rockies, you go, he should be all right. I know it is in Colorado, but he got beat up a little bit there. Jake Flaherty ended up 6 runs in about 4 innings, so his ERA is up there. And Anthony Bass for the Marlins as a closer. His two outings, he's got a blown save and gave up 4 runs or so. So his ERA is gonna be up there for a while.
Yeah.
So there's a few pitchers to throw in there, and that aren't starting the year off that great, especially as a reliever. Mm-hmm. One bad outing, especially early, it takes a month or 2 to even numbers out.
Yeah.
Starting pitcher, 2 starts and you're even them back out. Relief pitcher, takes maybe a month or 2 just to even the numbers. Like, oh, okay, now his numbers look more like you're supposed to. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's really tough for a relief pitcher to go off to a bad start or have that real bad outing because it just takes so long to catch back up.
And relievers are probably even more mental than starting pitchers because they only get their one spot in the game. Yeah. And so, you come out opening day or opening weekend and you're already giving up runs. You're probably like, well, what the hell?
Yeah, and your numbers, starting pitcher, you're 3-something ERA. You're like, he had a great year. Relief pitcher, 3-something ERA. You're like, not bad.
Yeah.
So relief pitcher, you want to be in the 2s.
Mm-hmm.
So starting pitcher, you have a little bit more room for error. So that's tough, But I don't think you got to worry too much about these guys.
No, big names there.
Yeah, and some other things to really throw in there. Really, Fernando Tatis off to a relatively slow start, and he had 5 errors.
Yeah.
5 errors through Sunday.
Yeah.
So through 3 to 4 games, 5 errors.
He's not getting a Gold Glove.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
5 errors. That was a big number. I mean, that puts he's on pace to break the record. Wow, that one guy we talked about weeks ago. But that's a lot of errors for a guy who's just signed a 12-year extension. You're probably thinking, oh boy, what I mean? You just get him off a shortstop. But 5 errors is a big number. But he's a guy that can go probably 2 months without making. We can give or take has a shot at going 2 months without making one.
Yeah.
But definitely you gotta be better than that.
You gotta at least raise your eyebrow at it and go, what the hell's going on with that?
I think he's, at that point your field percentage is probably in the 700s.
Oh, yeah.
Which is that's not good for a field percentage. You should be like 980, 990. You're like, all right.
And like I said, it probably kicks him right out of the Gold Glove talk because there are some shortstops in the NL that'll probably make 2 errors all year. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that probably kicks him right out, which is unfortunate because he is a pretty good fielder. Not that he's like a platinum glove guy, but he's a good fielder. So, that's strange. It's I don't know. Like you said, defense is just rusty.
Yeah, I've seen that number and I'm like, all right, that's not great.
No, not at all.
But yes, that's pretty much it. Some names there to throw around for both hot and cold. So
yeah, there's not much to really chew on yet as far as like big news and like hot and cold stuff. You could say these guys are hot, but they had 14 at bats, so it's like so. There's not much to really.
You get 2 good hits in a blue pit, and you got a decent average.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to like. The Braves lost all 3 games. It's like, well, I'm still not worried about the Braves, or the Astros swept the A's in Oakland. Obviously, that it catches your eye, but at the end of the day, I'm still not worried.
And that's the question I was going to ask is is any of this worrying or troublesome? Does anything make you go, maybe the A's 4 games?
Yeah, that is
giving a bunch of runs, but it's just not to a lineup like that. You can go, oh, that can happen.
Yeah, it might be more alarming that they didn't score the runs.
Yeah.
but that's the only thing that I thought was at least like it caught my eye. I wouldn't say I'm worried about the A's, but it's at least something you have to look at. You know?
And other small things. I mean, I say you maybe have to worry about. The Braves they lost, it was because they didn't hit. And I'm worried about that.
No.
Maybe Kershaw, getting older, and Mad Bum maybe getting older. So maybe you go, okay, maybe take a look at that. But there's really nothing to really be too worried about. Maybe the Red Sox, because their offense is off. That's what their team is, and you didn't do any against Baltimore.
Yeah.
So you go, okay, that's maybe a little alarming. You said same thing maybe with the Yankees, but the Yankees have too much talent to really not be there. So you're not too worried. And a good thing, I thought, off to an early start. The Angels for the first time, they're never off to a hot start.
No,
ever.
They're always playing catch up.
Yeah, ever. So they're coming off to a 3-1 start is great for them. And one more thing too to throw back at the A's. What an awful start to get, like a stick to pick. Start the Astros, then you're going to go play the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And I believe they go back to the Astros.
Ooh.
I believe I think their first 12 games or 12 of their first 16 games are from Astros and Dodgers or something like that. So it's like if you're going to get off to a bad start, I mean, Dodgers don't have to worry about it NL, but they're just a hard team to beat.
Yeah.
Then you're playing the Astros, you're going to go off to a bad start. You can come out and be 1-5 against them. You're 4 or 5 games behind them right off the rip.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just a bad draw for them.
Yeah,
but nothing really too alarming for me.
Nothing that sends up alarm bells yet. That would be like, I mean, then again, I don't know if it would get much worse than sweeping the A's at Oakland. So if that don't raise alarm bells, unless someone had like a season-ending injury already, but I mean,
I think it's just way too early. Not too worried about this.
Yeah, if you're any fan out there that's already paranoid about your season, like if you're a Yankee fan, you're like, oh, we lost to the Blue Jays. It's like, well, the first 3 games.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah. I mean, some people like to say April don't matter, don't count.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that doesn't matter, it doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was a little too much. I always went maybe more first. You can't. First 2 weeks are like okay, and then after that it's like all right. You kind of got to go.
Yeah.
And the saying, you can't win the World Series in April, but you can lose it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
you just gotta figure it out and just be in the mud a little bit, just middling around a little bit for the first little while. Then then your team figures it out.
Yeah, if you
so
come
as long
out,
as you can't be 2-15.
Yeah.
Just keep it around 500. 6-8. Okay, that's fine. It's good enough, and then you'll figure it out. So that's always my thoughts. Like I just come out and do all right for the first 2 weeks or so, and then weather warms up and everyone gets in the flow of things, and we just go.
Yeah, and it's like you said, if the A's play the Astros twice and the Dodgers, I mean, again, I'm not worried about the A's, but that could put them in a rough spot where they're going to be playing catch up maybe till June if they start the season that cold. I mean, I'm again not worried about them, but it's concerning when you're just worried about then they have to play catch up. And that just
with the team like the Angels who are already hot too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, geez, they could be behind 8 ball twice here, but you ain't gonna worry about them.
No.
There's one team that's gonna just make a ruckus. It's gonna be Oakland.
They'll just all of a sudden win 20 in a row like that one year.
Yeah, and then they'll just cause a ruckus.
Yeah.
So
so I'm not worried. I'm not really worried about any team right now. They're I still am pretty confident in where teams will end up if they make the playoffs or if they don't. You know? So I'm still in that boat.
Yeah, but to go off of that. Some things that are, maybe some troublesome here, or some injuries we've seen. Tim Anderson left the game yesterday. First inning, it looked like he pulled up a little bit right before the base. He said maybe a little bit of a hamstring tightness. He was day-to-day. Nothing. They weren't really worried about it, but something to keep an eye on, especially, of course, Frank's got him in fantasy. George Springer, what did we say? What did we say for a year now? He's going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Opening day comes. He's not even playing. He's hurt.
Yep.
So there you go. Adalberto Mondesi. Start the year on the IL, which was a little surprising. That kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
A little bit of a bleak issue. Josh Donaldson. He lasted half an inning. Hit a ball in the gap, ran to first base, blew his hamstring out.
You could bet on that at this point.
He's hurt. He's, pulled hamstring grade 2 or 3. I don't remember now, but he's hurt every time. Yeah. So, it's a shame, but it's kind of what you expect at this point.
Yeah, it's a shame. He's a good player. But, like you said, you just expect it at this point.
Yeah. Another guy, Tony Gonsolin for the Dodgers. He went on the IL. Zach Gallen started the year because he had a hairline fracture in his forearm. It's not really obviously a fracture in your forearm. You go, whoa, but it's hairline fracture. They don't really have too much worry about it, so he'll be all right. But he started the year on the IL. Harrison Bader for the Cardinals, definitely great defender. He's starting the year on the IL. Jose Leclerc, which was terrible because good pitcher and bounced back a little bit last year. He went on the IL with Tommy John, so he's done for the year. And then you had Kyle Lewis, who, again, Frank's fantasy team here, but just a short stint on the IL, a bone bruise in his knee. But just, someone was wondering, hey, where's that, rookie of the year or exciting guy we've seen with the Mariners? Well, one's down the minors because, that's what they do. But Kyle Lewis on the IL, he'll be back here pretty shortly.
Yeah.
But those are some big names here. People going, oh, these are some guys I know or like, or, definitely can cause a ruckus if they're hurt. So that doesn't include even, Eloy Jimenez, who we mentioned last week, out for pretty much all year.
Yeah.
And some guys like that. And, Chris Sale starting the year in the IL, Syndergaard starting the year in the IL, but we already knew that. So these are some guys who just recently came up that we, are new or just surprising injuries.
Yeah. Nothing like concerning to the point, like I said, like a season-ending injury. There are, like you said, Tim Anderson.
Well, Leclerc is season-ending with the Tommy John. That's just a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's, he's not like but it's not like a point like where, say, I don't know, God forbid, a team like the Angels lost Trout or the Angels.
Oh, don't even say it.
Yeah, that's what I say, God forbid.
Like Brian Hayes, another one actually went on the IL. After hitting a home
Oh,
run
that's right,
for the Pirates.
That's right.
Against the Cubs, their opening day. I just remember that too. So you definitely see some guys. Nothing real major other than Jose Leclerc and maybe Donaldson. Nothing really like, let's,
yeah, this
put
changes.
the flag up,
Yeah.
So nothing too crazy. So
yeah, we'll see what happens with the season. Those are some injury updates. I'm sure, as time goes on, obviously we'll always have injury updates, even if they're minor. If someone's on the 10-day IL, and well, that's always the hope. We never, you never like to see anyone get hurt for, hamstring pulls happen and bone bruises and stuff like that. You get
and stuff like that.
Yeah, things happen, but you never like to see a guy tear his ACL or Achilles or Tommy John or all that stuff. I mean, at this point, Tommy John is, guys come back from it, but they're out, for a while. So that always sucks just to see that. But yeah, nothing yet that would affect, maybe what would be like a playoff outlook for some teams. So yeah. So that's kind of all I got in my notes. I don't know if you want to move on to the trivia question or if you got any last stuff before you go on to that.
No, I mean, pretty much just excited to have baseball back here in the weekend. And, it just felt like, you're talking, baseball's back. And it almost felt watching the Yankees on opening day and watching all the games on opening day. It was like, you felt like it was almost like football. You're like, I get to watch the one game. The game's over. You're like,
Yeah. I know.
You remember? That's right.
Yeah.
161 other games. It's only about 18 off days. I'll be all right.
Yeah.
So that's always a good feeling. It's like, oh, man, I can't wait to watch them again. You got to wait a week or something. It's like, nope, they're on, maybe not tomorrow, but they're going to be on, 6 of the next 7 days, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, so absolutely.
It's always exciting, time to go relax and, go to bed or something. I'll start the TV on. I'll be network up. There's the Angels and White Sox, or there's, Oakland playing at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
that's
always.
Yeah, that's fine. So, just fun. And, only thing we're missing now is just MLB The Show to come out. That's all we're missing.
Yep.
Because that's just a hurt, missing that. But,
yep.
Just excited and ready and just happy it's here. So, anyway, get to the trivia question here. Of course, opening weekend, opening day, got to go with that. So the trivia question is, who threw the first and only opening day no-hitter or /perfect game in MLB history? And, it's, you look back and there's, 1,000 pitchers that are just so dominant. You go, oh.
Yeah, he
you
had
could
to
pick many of them. This guy no threw it over there. This one, what day was it?
Mm-hmm.
But opening day to come right out the gate, possibly in, snow, as we've seen. Just like, boom, no hitter. That's all right. I'm all right.
Yeah,
Right out the gate. That's just a great. I mean, you can't get a better.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, so the answer to that is April 16th, 1940. Bob Feller versus the White Sox at Comiskey Park threw the first and only no hitter on opening day. I believe he was 21 years old. And I believe it was very cold. I believe they said it was like a high of 40 degrees that day. And, of course, at Comiskey Park, it's got to be windy. It's very cold. Come out the gate and just sling a no-hitter. And be all right with it.
Yeah.
And, Bob Feller, 21 years old, was bringing it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
With some bats that were, just ripped off of a tree, so they're not ready. So people were stinging their hands. I mean, I'm sure that was nice for them.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a stud, so no surprise there.
So that's the trivia question. First, who threw the first and only opening day no-hitter or perfect game? And that is April 16th, 1940, Bob Feller versus the White Sox.
Cool. Yeah, he was a stud, so, I mean, no surprise there. He hopefully there's a card for him in MLB The Show this year again, because Golly.
I had him last year.
Yeah, and then they threw in that 99 card or whatever at the end of the year.
Or I might have had. I don't remember now if I had that one, but I know I had the other one.
Yeah.
That was just stupid. He was on 100.
Yeah, he's a glitch.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, that's a good trivia question. I knew it. I guessed it right. It was somewhere in the back of my head. You might have even told me it back in the day, and it was back there somewhere. Just baseball knowledge. Like, you know, you just remember a stat for some reason. It's just back there, and you just gotta kind of just get it out of the archives at some point.
Yeah.
There was something like that.
I think last year, our opening day one was, who has the home runs, and I love that one because it was who has the most home runs on opening day, and three-way tie with 8 home runs at Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Robinson, and Adam Dunn.
Of course.
So I love that one. I love that one because Ken Griffey Jr. is my man, and Adam Dunn's actually like he's my dude, and then Frank Robinson. So it's like, how could you go wrong?
Yeah.
So I just love that one. I think we used that one last year, so I went with the no-hitter this year, and Bob Feller.
Yeah.
Who, come on. I got a signed picture of him at my house because I'm like, that's Bob Feller, and that's what he does, so.
Yeah, absolutely. He was great, and all those guys that hit the home runs are great. I know you always love that stat with Adam Dunn.
Because he used to come out and hit a home run every
I
opening day.
I remember it, yeah.
He would just hit a home run, and he'd be like, okay. And that's why he'd hit 40 on the year, because he'd come out the gate, hit a home run, and be like, all right, I'm on the board.
He would have broke that record, too, if he played longer, 100%. He would have hit one opening day.
Hit another one, yeah.
But, yeah, that's kind of all I got. There's not much to chew on, like I said, with the opening weekend here. Next week, we'll have a full week of baseball to talk about, plus the 3 days here we talked about. So we'll have a little bit more to see, a little bit more to talk about. Who knows what happens. So we'll have more in the next episode. But this is kind of our format for the rest of the year. Like I said, if there's new listeners, this is what we do. Anyone that's been here and has listened, we appreciate you listening, and we're glad that baseball's back. So
yeah, I'm just excited, and opening day and opening weekend with the sun and the day games and the ceremonies, and it's just exciting, and it's just it's like a playoff feel, but it's opening day, and you got 162 or 161 more games, so just can't be more happy than just to have baseball on TV with people in the stands watching.
Yeah.
So
in April.
Yeah. Now all we're missing is a little bit more fans and a little bit more of the rhythm and then some minor leagues. That's our next little bit, and we'll have a full normal. I know the show, of course. I kept missing that, so I got to get that back. But yeah, just excited, just really excited, and we're happy it's here, and just gonna keep watching and gonna watch every little bit I can.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, then if that's kind of all you got, and I know that's all I got, so you want to just wrap this up and get out of here?
Yeah. Last little thing. This past week was Easter. I think we forgot about it last week, so I hope everyone had a good Easter.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. That was the last little bit. Forgot about it last week, so hope everybody had a good Easter.
Yeah, agreed. I hope everyone had a good, happy, safe Easter and had some good time with their family if they were able to see them and all that good stuff. So yeah, so thank you guys for listening. You can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts as well as Google Podcasts and Spotify. You can listen to this podcast on our regularly updated YouTube channel as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep, take care.